All right, my little ones, here we go. This is myth number 3, one of my favorite myths about a mom and a daughter who, go out, have a good day, and the daughter gets kidnapped by an evil Greek god. All right, here we go. This is called the story of Ceres and Proserpina. A lot of characters come fast. Write them down. Greek name, Roman name, get it together. Write them down. You need to know them. This is the overview in the beginning. The ancient Romans had the same gods and goddesses as the ancient Greeks, but called them by different names. Ceres is the Roman name for Demeter. We knew that. Goddess of the harvest. Her daughter is Proserpina, the Roman name for Persephone, goddess of the dead and the fertility of the earth. Pluto, Proserpina's husband, is called Hades in Greek mythology. In this myth, Pluto kidnaps Proserpina, or Persephone, and Ceres seeks her daughter's return. Of course, every parent will want the return. Okay, the first page is pretty dramatic. As you open the story, you'll see it's got a very vivid, it's a young woman in the water with leaves, and it's very dramatic in color, so hopefully you'll take a look at it. Okay, it says, one day, Persephone, the young maiden of spring, kind of like the young maiden Arachne, okay? Persephone, the young maiden of spring, was picking wildflowers with her mother, Ceres, the goddess of grain. Entering the cool, moist woods, Persephone filled her basket with lilies and violets. But when she spied the white petals of the narcissus flower, she strayed from her mother. Narcissus is another myth we're going to read. Okay, here we go. Just as Persephone picked a beautiful narcissus, the earth began to rumble. Suddenly, the ground cracked open, splitting fern beds and ripping flowers and trees from their roots. Then out of the dark depths sprang Pluto, god of the underworld, otherwise known as Hades in our story, okay? Standing up in his black chariot, Pluto ferociously drove his stallions toward Persephone. The maiden screamed for her mother, but Ceres was far away and could not save her. So, Persephone wandered away in the forest. Mom was a little bit away, and the earth rumbled, and the ground cracked open like in an earthquake, and out comes Pluto and his massive chariot. Can you imagine the big, black, beautiful stallions carrying this god of the underworld? He must have had like flames shooting out of him, and the horses must have been magnificent. Probably a big gold chariot, with the power that he loves. Must have been magnificent. And the poor young girl is picking flowers from her basket, and she screams! And somebody grabs her and kidnaps her and takes her away. Okay, Pluto grabbed Proserpina and drove his chariot back into the earth. So he grabs her and he dives back into the earth. Horses, chariots, and girl. Okay, then the ground closed up again, leaving not a seam. So because he's the god of the underworld, he cracks open the earth, he goes back in, and he puts it together like nothing ever happened. Okay, when the mountains echoed with Proserpina's screams, of course every young person would scream when she's kidnapped. Her mother rushed into the woods, but it was too late. Her daughter had disappeared. Besides herself with grief, Ceres began searching for her kidnapped daughter in every land. For 9 days, the goddess did not rest, but carried 2 torches through the cold nights, searching for Persephone. Sometimes I call her Proserpina, sometimes I call her Persephone. It just happens. Okay, it's age. What are you going to do? All right, on the 10th day, Hecate, goddess of the dark moon, new character, Hecate, goddess of the dark moon, came to Ceres. Holding up a lantern, the shrouded goddess said, I also heard your daughter screams, but I didn't see her. Let us fly to Helios, the sun god, and ask him what happened. Ceres and Hecate flew to Helios. Again, a lot of characters, write them down. They're on the page. Ceres and Hecate flew to Helios, the sun god, and weeping, Ceres asked Helios if he'd seen her daughter while he was shining down upon the woods. Because, he was a sun god. His light shone everywhere. I pity you, Ceres, said Helios, for I know what it is to lose a child. But I know the truth. He's like, I saw it all. I saw everything. Okay? Pluto wanted Persephone for his wife, so he asked his brother Jupiter to give him to her. Now let me repeat that. It's kind of complicated. It's like a Telemundo show. Everybody's kind of interrelated. Here we go. Okay, Pluto asked, Pluto wanted Persephone for his wife. So he asked his brother Jupiter. Remember, Hades and Zeus, otherwise known as Pluto and Jupiter, Pluto and Hades, they're brothers. And Hades wanted Persephone for his wife. Now, Persephone was the daughter of Jupiter, which is Zeus. So he's like, it's like your uncle calling your dad and saying, hey, I love your daughter. Can I have her and marry her? And your dad's like, yeah, sure. Because that's what Jupiter said. Jupiter said to Pluto and Hades, yeah, you could have her. So he asked permission, because, Pluto knows not to mess with Jupiter, Zeus. So Pluto asked for permission to steal his daughter, and Zeus or Jupiter said, yes, you can have her. Zeus gave permission to kidnap her. Jupiter gave his consent, and now your daughter reigns over the land of the dead with Pluto. Heads up, there's vocabulary words and characters. Get them down. They're on tomorrow's questions. Okay? Ceres screamed in rage, like any mom would, and thrust her fist towards Mount Olympus. Cursing Jupiter, how dare you! For, aiding in the kidnapping of his own daughter. So Ceres is like, how dare you allow our daughter to be kidnapped? How dare you? So she was furious at Jupiter, which was the dad. Okay? Then she turned to Earth, disguised as an old woman. Then she returned to Earth, disguised as an old woman, kind of like in the story Arachne. Remember Athena did that? And began wandering from town to town. One day as she rested by a well, Ceres watched 4 princesses gathering water. Remembering her own daughter, she began to weep, which means to cry a lot. Where are you from, old woman? One princess asked. I was kidnapped by pirates and I escaped, said Ceres. Now I know not where I am. We talked about this. I told you the gods like to come down and pretend to be like an older person or a younger person just to see how the mortals will treat them, hopefully with kindness and respect. Otherwise, there's punishment to be done. Okay? Feeling pity for her, the princesses brought Ceres home to their palace. At the palace, their mother, the queen, took an immediate liking to Ceres when she noticed how good she was with her baby son, the prince. When she asked Ceres if she would live with them and be his nurse, the goddess gladly consented. Probably because Ceres was missing her baby girl, her daughter, so she was happy to have another child to take care of. Ceres grew deeply fond of the child. The thought that he would someday grow old and die was too much for her to bear. Remember, Ceres was a god. She was immortal, so her children were immortal. She didn't want this mortal baby that she's caring for to die. Just the thought of it was like making her crazy. She couldn't bear the thought of this child dying. So she decided to change him from a mortal to a god. As a god, she had that power. Every night when everyone else was asleep, she poured a magic liquid on the body of the baby prince and held him in a fire. That's how the gods made somebody mortal. And mortal, from being mortal to immortal. You hold him over the fire with the magic liquid. Soon the prince began to look like a god. Everyone was amazed at his beauty and strength. The queen, disturbed by the changes in her child, hid in the nursery and watched Ceres and the boy. Kind of like a nanny cam back in the day. She watched the nanny with the child. That's what I would do if you were taking care of my kid. I'd have my eyes all over you. Okay? And when she saw Ceres place the child into the fire, she screamed for help. I mean, that makes sense. She's watching the nanny put the child over the fire, but she doesn't know that she's a god. Okay? Stupid woman, shouted Ceres, snatching the baby from the fire. Stupid woman, I was going to make your son a god. He would have lived forever as a god. Now he'll be a mere mortal and die like the rest of you. The king and queen then realized that the boy's nurse was Ceres, the powerful goddess of green, and they were terrified. Boom! I'm going to stop there. Story element suspense. You don't know what's going to happen. All right, my little ones, make sure you have all the Greek names, the Roman names, you know who's doing what, who found who consented with who, all the scoop, all right? It's really important. That's what tomorrow's questions are about. Hope you like the story, and I will talk to you tomorrow.